Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. This is It's Your Healthy Lifestyle show, hosted by the founder of this platform, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and myself, Roland Friedl. How important is your health and fitness to you? We show you how you can easily eat healthier every day, how you can improve your fitness and recover much quicker after your exercises and workouts. Families will learn how to optimize their children's health and nutrition. And finally, you will also hear how you live a long, healthy and fit life into your old age. Join us here on It's Your Healthy Lifestyle.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and I'm one of your hosts today for It's Your Healthy Lifestyle. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of the myths that we tell ourselves, the stories that we tell ourselves when we start to look at our health and we start to make compromises. And we'll get into that a little bit more. If you haven't done so, please, wherever it is you're watching, go over to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and subscribe. Okay, let's get into the show. Joining me after a little hiatus that we've had is my dear friend, mentor, and colleague. He's also one of our producers here at USA Global TV and Radio, and he has his own television shows in German. We'll hear more about that in a moment. His name is Roland Friedl, and he's worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. He actually has 2 books that have been released, and we're going to find out more about them. Let's welcome my friend, Mr. Roland Friedl, to the program. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello to the audience. By the way, you look amazing, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You look pretty good yourself as well.
I do my best. I do my best. I never give up my hope.
Well, we have many things in common, but one of them is that we really take our health very seriously. So we're going to dive into it. But before we do, we have been off on a little bit of a break from this show. Why don't you go ahead and tell people what you've been up to? You certainly have been making things happen in your part of the world. Tell us where you are and what you're doing.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi. Yeah, welcome back to the It's Your Healthy Lifestyle show. We had a short break. And the reason for that is I released 2 books, one in German, Papa, wo bist du? Papa, where are you? It's a book about, non-present dads in different ways. And then I released in the US, I released a business book in English, and the German edition will come up, I guess, in 10 to 14 days. It's a business book. It's called The Innovation Edge. That's what I did. And we also started here in USA Global TV and Radio, a German show, actually 2 German shows in September, which started the Mutmacher Talk, and the Macher Talk every Tuesday. So that was the break, just to focus on the German shows. But now we are back on It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, because everyone knows that follows me on the show, health is the most important thing in the world, because without health, nothing is fun. Yeah, here a short look at my books. Thanks for sharing that. You can find them on Amazon or different other platforms. Just go for it, get your copy, have fun, and please share your experience and what you're getting out of the book. You're always welcome to connect with me. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. And for our audience, as I mentioned, Roland is one of our producers here, quickly moving up to the executive producer rank. And he caught on very quickly. So I want to just give him a lot of credit and kudos, because I wouldn't be able to run this platform if it weren't for Roland. So thank you very much.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
It's such a relief not to have to do everything yourself. So I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to get into this topic, which I feel is really important. It's stop negotiating with yourself, the silent habit that destroys results. And part of the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is in interviewing people, and you've been interviewing people just like I have, people will share things that they're really proud of, that they gave up, that goals that they've committed to. And yet in the meantime, they're doing some other things. They got rid of one thing and they picked up something else. Can you tell us a little bit about your understanding about this kind of behavior, Roland?
Yeah, sure. I know. I did counseling for a few years. I was helping rich people get away from alcohol and from drugs, and I always saw that finally, when they gave up drinking or they gave up taking any other drugs, then they move to a different addiction. I don't know, getting sweets or whatever it is. So for people, I don't know. The reason what I strongly believe is that it's not about the addiction itself. It's what's behind. What are people asking for? I don't know how to translate this to English, but in German it says Sucht. The German word for addiction is Sucht, and it means Suche nach Liebe, or searching for love. That's what we call an addiction. And that's the reason because when you don't work on your trauma, when you don't do your shadow work, it doesn't matter when you give up your addiction. You just definitely jump into the next one. So you're just replacing one addiction to the other. And the reason for that, as I mentioned, is because we have to do our shadow work, where it's coming from, what we want. We always need love. We want to be hugged. Maybe we didn't get love from our parents or from our partner, whatever it is. And so we replace it, and through an addiction, whatever it is.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I think the other point that's really interesting is we've been doing the same thing for so long. We stop and we decide we're going to do something else, and we expect immediate results. And I know for me, today is day 73 with no sugar and no alcohol. And I've talked to you before, like, oh, I'm going to give it up. And I stopped for a week or two. And I finally just decided I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm not doing it because I have ulcerative colitis and I'm 63. So it makes sense to look at your health and what you're doing. But so many times people will go back to doing the same thing because they're not getting immediate results. But yet they forget that they've been doing what they have been doing for so many years, in cases, decades. And then they want everything to change in a short time. What are your thoughts about unrealistic expectations about results, Roland?
Well, actually, people in general, they always want a quick fix, or a miracle pill or whatever. They don't want to go the whole bath. Yeah. Always a short distance. And I think it's, we're driven by pain or by pleasure. We're avoiding things, or we are heading to something. And, in the US, it's totally different than here in Europe. Here in Europe, you have to, I know that you're another way around. In US, you have to pay when you see the doctors, when you go to clinics. It's quite expensive. I know you have some healthcare stuff since Obama, but here in Europe, you pay an insurance. Actually, when you're an employed in a company, you don't even see the money. And then you go to the doctors and they say, fix it because I paid for it in advance. And that's education, People don't learn to take, even with the health, self-responsibility. It's all about self-responsibility. And but on the other hand, I know that's not easy. When most people are watching TV and they see a lot of commercials, we all know that the stuff that they promote on TV is not the healthy thing, because the healthy things you never see on TV. So they promote sugar and fat and whatever, and people buy it, and then they get a problem. And we are, it's too much manipulation out in the market. We have big pharma, we have big food, and we have big media. They all work together, and people fall into this trap. And I always say, a pleasure on the short time is the hell on the long term. Yeah, the hell on the short time is a pleasure on the long term. What I mean is, maybe you're you have a short-term pleasure, like a huge ice cream or a soda or whatever, but on the long term, your health is suffering. And on the other way, sometimes my workout feels like hell. When I really pump heavy weights, it feels like hell on the short term. But on the long term, I know what it's doing to me. I'm not suffering from back pain. I have a good body structure. My core muscles are there. I'm going to be 62. I'm still fit, and I guess I'm fitter than most in the 30s or 20s.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And something else that I think is really important, because I've seen this happen, people shared this with me. They've decided they want to have a healthy lifestyle. So what do they start doing? They start taking supplements. They start looking at the internet, and someone's promoting this and someone's promoting that, and they start taking all these things, and they have no idea how they are going to work together or not, because they forget that the body is like a very fine, well-oiled system. And when you start giving it more things than what it needs, there's a problem. And I'll give you an example, and then I'll go over to you. So just today, I started looking at what are the things that I'm taking. I don't take a lot of supplements, but I do take protein powders and collagen and greens and turmeric and vitamin K and D. And so I put all photographs of everything I was taking, and I put it into artificial intelligence. And I said, what do you think? And it came back, and I also gave it my blood test results. I forgot to mention that. So what it came back with was, you're taking too much B12 and too much turmeric, and it's not serving you. So you should get rid of the two things. So I'm going to try. So the point is, just because someone tells you that XYZ supplement is good for you, it might not be good for you. And who's the puppeteer overseeing all of the different pieces that are in the show of your life? What are your thoughts?
Well, 100%. I mean, you know that I'm supplementing, but I do a regular blood test. So when I'm heading back from Sicily to Austria, I do another blood test. I guess I do 4 times a blood test a year, and I love supplements. But as you mentioned, it's you have to make sure what you're taking, and even if the dose is too high, also the toxic stuff. Even the healthiest thing can be toxic when you dose it too high. But I think when people thinking about supplement, I always say they're not replacing a healthy meal. Because most people, sorry for that, they eat shit, they don't work out, and then they take supplements. And they believe it's a miracle pill or something like that. I say supplement, yes, if it's necessary, but it's not replacing a healthy, nutritious meal. Not at all. And that brings me back. It's all about taking responsibility and do the workout and eat properly. Not a typical American standard diet. This has nothing to do with healthy nutrition.
Absolutely. And I think this brings me back to our subject, which is stop negotiating with yourself. I actually have a book coming out, which is Stop Giving Away Your Value. And I really feel that it starts with ourselves and how we treat ourselves. But I know just myself, before I started saying to myself, okay, I'm changing the way I'm living my life. This is not just a short-term thing. This is a long-term program. But before that, I would negotiate with myself and say, you know what? It's okay to do this because I won't do it tomorrow. Or next weekend, I'll make sure that I work out twice as hard. We have these little negotiations, and it's really because we have not established that control and that discipline, in my opinion. So I've also been told that I'm too structured, I'm too disciplined, and it's very boring. Now, I don't think I'm boring, but that might be boring to other people who are out of control. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I understand 100% what you're talking about, because a lot of people say the same to you. When I'm here on a camping site, I came here November 8th, and I guess I joined 2 times for coffee, once for barbecue, and once for non-alcoholic beer. And the guys always said, "You're not drinking, isn't it boring here?" I said, "No, not at all. I enjoy life to the fullest. I can enjoy life to the fullest without alcohol or any drugs or stuff." But from my background, I'm a very disciplined person most of the day. I say most of the day, not every day, but most of the day. Of course, I'm enjoying some ice cream or I don't know, a small glass of red wine or whatever hangs around. But most people don't have the discipline. And the other thing is, you mentioned they want a healthy lifestyle. When I talk to people and say, are you interested in health? They all say yes. And my second question is, what are you doing on a daily basis, not just on a weekend? Yeah, on a daily basis. No. So people always say, yeah, it's important for them. But what are you doing exactly? Most of them, nothing, or not enough, or maybe on the weekend, maybe on the weekend they have a fruit salad and believe it's healthier or whatever. And I think I actually had this discussion with my girlfriend because she wants to work out and she wants to stop smoking. And I said, the question is, do you want it really for yourself, not for myself, for you? Do you really want it? Because I think the trap starts when you say, I have to. No, it's not I have to. I want to. Because when you say I want to, it comes from inside. When you say I have to change something, it comes from outside. Who is expecting you to change something? And then you feel under pressure. It must be your free will and your decision. Say, I want to change this. And if you say, I want to change this, you get up in the morning and instead of having, I don't know, cereals or a sugar bomb, maybe you go for a bulletproof coffee or just water. Then you walk maybe 10,000 steps, you do your workout or whatever before office. If you love what you're doing and you strongly believe in this, that you love it, then it's easier. And, I'm working out on a regular basis. I do my 15,000 steps and sometimes more, even every day. Although I'm working and running my small household in my RV, it's because I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing because I know the results I get. I'm fit. I'm healthy. I don't see a doctor. I don't see a pharmaceutical shop. I don't feel any pain. I'm not fatigued. My digestion system is perfect. So we have to pay the price, but it has to be our own decision. And most people change because somebody else tells them to do. And as I mentioned, if you have to, it's going to be very, very difficult because your monkey mind will always try to get back to the old system where you feel comfortable, what is cozy, the warm sofa, I don't know, the sweet chocolate or whatever it is. And I understand 100%. People think from outside that we have a boring life. No, we enjoy life to the fullest. We are working. We are writing books. We're releasing books. We're running TV shows. We're running different businesses because we love it. Because we can really work 15, 20 hours a day because we are fit and we love what we're doing. That's the difference. And if somebody says it's boring, okay, up to you. Not for me.
Absolutely. Usually when someone says that, I don't judge them, but I think they're probably not happy with who they are and what they're doing. And when someone is actually taking control of their life, it can put a spotlight on other people who are they just come up with it themselves and they think, okay, well, I'm not doing that and I don't want to do it. So I'm going to push back and just separate myself from you because I don't want to have to put that focus on me.
Yeah. I mean, people always try to justify the status quo. Yeah, before they even try it. It's all about justification of the status quo. That's one thing. And it's easy to say no in the beginning, whatever it is. My girlfriend, she has a beautiful son, a little bastard, but he's a nice guy. And he always says no. And I said, hey, just try it. Just try it. Give it a try. And then you can say no, but give it a try. And most people don't try it before. Yeah, they just say no. No, it's too heavy. It's too much. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. And the other thing is, I got a lot of feedback from obese people, really obese people. And then when they do work out, they're changing their nutrition, and afterwards they say, I had no idea how amazing I can feel when I have 100 pounds less. I can knee down and close my shoes. I'm not sweating when I climb some stairs. I can knee down and play with my grandchildren. They said, I had no idea how beautiful this is.
Yeah, that's such a good point because we don't know what we don't know. And so obviously in the news, and you and I are not here to pass judgment, many people are choosing to go a different way instead of sacrificing certain things. They are bringing something new into their life. They are injecting a drug or they are taking a pill. And we see this with A-list celebrities all around the world, and they're completely transformed. They look like a totally different person. And so whatever route people decide to take, you have to have a why. What is the why of what you're doing? Because if you don't, you probably will go back to the other ways. And Roland, I'd really like for you to talk about this because you have worked with so many people as a coach and as a mentor. When we feel lost in our life, sometimes people will reach for something. When we don't like ourselves, when we don't feel like we're enough, we might reach for something. And that is supposed to fill the void, which is only temporary. It's like a Band-Aid. So when someone comes to you and tells you that they're struggling with whatever addiction or behavior that might not be healthy or even out of control, what are some of the first things that you do to help bring awareness for them to realize what's actually going on?
Good, a very good question. Before I answer this, I want to go back to what you mentioned about the celebrators taking some miracle pills or injections to lose weight. First of all, they're losing weight because they're working hard on their nutrition and their workout, and they get paid to promote these products, but they don't take it. They don't take it. They promote it. It's a different thing. That's a different thing. They work very, very hard. I remember, before I answer your question, I met Hugh Jackman years ago in Munich. He was promoting a movie, and we met by chance at the hotel bar in the Bayerische Hof. And we had a nice conversation. He had some water, I had some orange juice or something like that. And I asked him, what do you miss most in your life as a celebrity? And I said, you know what? For 30 years, I haven't a bite of bread. I hadn't a bite of lasagna. I hadn't a bite of pizza. I never had a beer. And that's the price they're paying. It's not taking some miracle pills or whatever. They're working out heavy, and they follow really a very strict nutrition plan. But to come back to your question, when somebody comes to me with an addiction, the first thing I do is with them just holding space. What I mean by this is I'm just being present. I never stop talking. I just be there. And whenever they open up, I just listen, because these people are not used that somebody's listening to them, really listening from the bottom of their heart, really listening to them. And then they open a little bit more. I'm just there, really, just holding space. I don't do any therapy talks or coaching talks in the beginning, just being present and waiting for them to open up when they're ready. That's one thing. Second is, when they open up, my question is always, how is your relationship to your dad and to mom? That's always the question when we start so-called working. Yeah, it's always about. But most people are struggling, and that's the reason why I brought up this book out. Is they're struggling because they never, maybe they got it, but they didn't feel it or didn't believe it, that they've been loved by their parents, by their dad or by their mom, whatever. It's most of them. And then we try to fill this gap. And I was the same, I had this gap. I never get the acknowledgement, the recognition, or a hug from my dad. Luckily, I didn't take any drugs. I was just working like crazy, to fill this gap. I was just working like crazy. What does an addiction do when it's too much? When you go over your body, maybe if you don't look at your mental boundaries. But just to make a long story short, is I just hold space in the beginning. I'm just there, not expecting anything. All these people are on addiction. They always believe that somebody else is expecting something from them, and they don't get anything back in return. What is important for them, like being loved, being acknowledged, being hugged, whatever it is. I'm just there, and then they start opening. That's what I'm doing.
Roland, what an incredible point that you brought up, because we're so used to having people jump in when we're talking and tell us what we need, what you need to do, what you should do, what I've been doing is, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't even get to tell you what I was doing, and you're immediately cutting me off. And so we walk around feeling like we are unheard. And as a result of that, it can affect our self-esteem. It can affect decisions that we make, and whereby we can't blame other people. We really do need someone like you to hold space for us so that we can express ourselves. And then we're not trying to stuff our feelings because we're sharing them.
100%. Jacalyn, this is a trap that many men fall into it when they're in a relationship. When they come home and their spouse is just talking about a problem, and men always think they're expected to do something. Yeah. And then they try to bring up a solution, and then the lady says, "You're not listening." And I thought, what the fuck are you talking? You tell me a problem, I have a solution that's working. Why you say you're not listening? No, all they want is just holding space. Shut up, hold space. Maybe you hug her, nothing else. Because gentlemen, when you're listening, when you have a lady, only come up with a solution or feedback when you have been asked for. The rest is just holding space and hugging.
Absolutely. And I want to jump in on that because I've worked with people myself. And so one person might be at home doing what it is they're doing there, taking care of the household or the children, and the other person is leaving the home and doing what they're doing. And so the perception is that when the person who left comes home, it's like, well, this is my time now because I have all these things I've been meaning to tell you because I've been stuck in this house all day doing this and that. And meanwhile, the person's like, I had this kind of day. I was driving, I was stuck in traffic. And so neither person is actually acknowledging that the other person needs some space. So what are your thoughts about people just taking some time before they come together to share when they've been apart during the day?
Absolutely, man. It's very, very important, because we all need to rest. And what I mean is we need to rest to recover without distraction, without distraction, without eating, being on social media, watching news or whatever. It's resting, relaxing without distraction. And it's very, very important that we have some space just for ourselves, even when it's just half an hour or an hour. I think it's very, very important. I did this when I'm in my first marriage. Before I went home after business days, I went to a restaurant and enjoying a dinner just for myself to come down, to relax. And I remember in my second marriage, when my wife picked me up at the airport in Palma in Mallorca, she always brought me to my favorite restaurant in the morning for a breakfast, during the day for lunch, or in the evening for evening, depending on when my arrival time was. And she left me there. She was walking the dog, and she left me there. And I had my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, just to come down, to get rid of the stress from the airport, from the flight, but also from maybe some worries I had in business. And then we came together as a couple. And this is so important. We need this time. I know, especially for those who are staying at home, finally the partner's coming home and somebody's here. I was so bored at home or whatever it is. Yeah, we need some time to relax, 100%. And as I mentioned, I repeat it because it's really important. Relaxing without distraction.
Absolutely. And when we come back to the title of Stop Negotiating with Yourself, it's thinking about how can we control our own emotions? How can we process our emotions? So often we are looking to offload what we're feeling, whether it's through alcohol or drugs or food or gambling or shopping or sex, or we could go on, or we want to just take it out on someone else. So what I've experienced with clients of mine, they have shared with me over the years that something will happen and they immediately want to contact someone. It just happened. They haven't even acknowledged what it is or started to process it. It's like, oh, tell a friend. I got to call someone. I got to write to someone. And if no one answers, I got to eat. I got to do whatever it is. So what are your thoughts about a different perspective on this approach?
Well, I know handling or managing emotions is one of the most difficult things for most of the people. And, Tony Robbins, this famous trainer ever said, managing your emotions is the skill number one if you want to be successful in business, whatever you're doing in sports or in arts or in business, whatever it is. But most people misunderstand managing or handling emotion. It's not suppressing its emotion. It's going through, just acknowledging when there's emotion coming up and not suppressing it. Say, okay, why is this emotion there? Because when you have a certain emotion, something before was going on in your head, what you're telling yourself the whole day. I guess there's a statistic that we have 90,000 thoughts a day, and we all know that most of them are really, sorry for that expression, shit. And the shit expressions gave us negative emotions. Or sometimes we believe that we have negative emotion from an outside event or person. That's not true. That's just a mirror. The outside event or the outside person is just a mirror. It's inside us. And so the first thing is to acknowledge it. There is an emotion. It gives us feedback where we are standing at. The second question is, how the heck did I come there? What did I tell myself that I came to this place where this emotion comes up? And then going through, and sometimes this emotion is changing. I give an example. When I started working on my personal emotions, I was always a very sad person. You know my story, what happened to me as a kid. It's written in one of your books, From Adversity to Excellence. I always felt very sad, and I suppressed this emotion, you know. And by working or by meeting many beautiful ladies. But one day I came across this has to stop. And I went through this emotion. So this emotion, the sadness came up again. And I said, okay, here we are. Well, I'm sad. What is behind that? And I went through this emotion and I found out, no, I'm not sad. I'm just very, very angry. So it was a lot of anger behind the sadness. And I went through this anger, and I was working on this anger where it's coming from, you know, what happened to me in my past and so. And then I could go, and so I don't feel sad anymore because I don't feel angry anymore. But to come back to your question is, first of all, acknowledge the emotion, where it's coming from. What are your thoughts? What's going on in your head? What you're telling you the whole day or even the night when you don't sleep, or telling to yourself. What are you believing, or what are your belief systems, where it comes from? And working on that, and you know, and staying in silence, not to get distracted by going on the phone and call a best friend or whatever, you know, and then bring all the shit, you know, bringing all this garbage to the other person, you know, giving responsibility away. Maybe you get some, I don't know, some understanding or whatever, but that's not what you need at the moment. What you need at the moment is staying in silence and go through this process and wait what's coming up. And most people fear this because a lot of shit is coming up, but we have to process this 100%. We have to process this 100%. And then we can transform to a better version of ourselves. And then it's easier for us to so-called handle or manage emotions, because we know there's no good or bad emotion. They just give us feedback what our thoughts are. I hope this answers your question.
You brought up so many good points, and I just want to reiterate them. Many times when we are feeling really sad, it's because there's another emotion, which is anger. And then under the anger, there could be fear. And so we're so angry at someone else, but when we start to process it, if we're open to it and doing the work, we realize we're angry at ourselves because we believed in someone, we trusted someone, we made a decision based on something about someone else, but we own it. And so you have to do that work and say, you know what, I'm raising my hand, I'm accountable, I'm responsible. And this happens with food. And I'll give an example of this. I've heard people say, well, you know what, I don't really want to eat sugar, but my spouse eats sugar. And so, you know, they're eating it, so I have to eat it. Or whenever I go out with so-and-so, they're drinking, so I have to drink. And people make these excuses. They start negotiating with themselves. So what actually is behind this kind of behavior, Roland?
Well, you know, when you are with a partner together and he's smoking, you want to give up smoking, or he's eating bad stuff and you want to give up. It's like a rubber band, you know, you're connected through a rubber band. And what is stronger? Yeah. You will to change, or your partner. It's a rubber band. Yeah. And someone will win at the end. The best version is that you choose a better lifestyle, and maybe from choosing a better lifestyle, from transforming into your better self, maybe you become a role model for your partner, and your partner will follow up a little bit later. Or even best way is starting together with you. Yeah. But most of the time, people are separating, or they fall back in the old behaving because they believe that they need their partner. Yeah. Which drops them down, because it's a kind of an emotional independence, emotional, yeah. And so it's a rubber band, you know, who is strong on which side.
Yeah.
And that's what you mentioned, Dr. Jacalyn, in the beginning, is we have to set goals if you start something. And I strongly believe that your goal or your vision has been much, much, much larger than any obstacle that could occur on your path. Because there are obstacles, like your partners, your family. I don't know, maybe your job, maybe you travel a lot and you believe, oh, it's difficult to get some good food or exercise. What is not true, because I was always exercising in hotels in the gym, and instead of going for dinner or for lunch, I was always exercising or run with my shoes in the park or something. There's always options, but in the beginning we don't know it. So I think that we have to have set a really huge goal that we want to achieve, and this goal has always to be larger than the obstacles, because when the obstacle is larger, it covers the goal, and then you give up.
Yeah, it's so true. And I know, just going back to the stories that we tell ourselves, when I was in corporate, there was a lot of entertaining that was involved. In fact, we even got evaluated on how many dinners and how many sporting events, et cetera. And so sometimes I would be sitting with clients till 12 o'clock at night. Well, guess what? Not everybody's doing that. That was a choice, and I could have said no, but you don't see it at the time. You feel like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this. But if it's not feeling good in your body, if it's not fitting well with you, somebody just told me they were out till 2 a.m. and then they went to the gym at 7 a.m. I mean, I don't know, how often can you do something like that before your body starts to catch up? So what I really want to leave our audience with today is stop negotiating with yourself. Stop telling yourself stories that are not actually true. You are just giving in to what I really feel, and it's not a judgment, lack of being in control. When you're in control and you make decisions, you are steadfast. And for somebody to change your mind is almost impossible. It's like, Roland, if I said to you right now, you know what, Roland, in order for you to stay on this television network, you're going to have to start smoking. I mean, imagine if I said that every day. You might say, well, you know what? No, I don't smoke, and I'm not going to smoke. Goodbye. Right? That would make perfect sense. It sounds ridiculous, but that's the kind of thing that people start saying to themselves, well, she said I had to. He said I had to. Everybody else is doing it.
Yeah. You know, and what I want to add is, when I ask people, you want to change, I always said, you want to change, and say yes. And my second question is when. If they don't stop today, that's a challenge. It's about stopping today. If you want to change now, not tomorrow, not next week, not doing any New Year's stuff for the 1st of January, stuff like that. It's never ever working. If you want to change something, do it now, right now. That's the point. Everything else is a justification.
And I just want to add into that. So my birthday was last week. I turned 63. And so I went out to lunch, and at the restaurant, they brought over champagne. It was free. They were giving it to us. And I said, no, thank you. I don't drink. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, no, I don't want it. Thank you. Then they brought over shellfish, which I have an allergy. They're like, oh, it's the best. I'm like, no, thank you. And at the end, they brought over dessert. Well, we have to sing. I said, there's no singing. There's no dessert. And they looked at me like, but people would say, well, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm going to do it. But there's always an excuse. And so by not doing it, I was in control of my decision and sticking with the choices that I've decided to make. And I feel really good about it. Whereas other people are like, oh, you're crazy. Are you kidding me, for one day? Well, who cares? I didn't ask for your opinion. That's the other thing. When you start soliciting opinions from people, they're going to come from wherever they are in their life. If they're structured and disciplined, they may say, you know what, I would have done the same. Good for you. But if they're not, they might come from a different perspective. And then what good is that information?
100%. You know, starting a process is a decision that you make. You make a decision, yes or no. That's one thing, is making a decision. And secondly, it's, you know, maybe it sounds a little bit weird, but I feel much better when I say no to something like a dessert or whatever, instead of eating it. I feel much. So, of course, sometimes I eat it. I love, you know, vanilla. I don't know whether you say vanilla pudding or whatever you call it. I love it. I love ice cream, yes, but not on a daily basis. And sometimes I just no. I do fasting for 5 days. Actually, I stop fasting again the first week of May, when I go to, you know, this place in Tuscany, in this hot spring. I do my water fasting and my sardine fasting. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud. I said no. I say no to a drink. I say no to a chocolate or whatever. Just live with it. Yeah. And I think that's what we have to learn, to be proud of ourselves when we achieve goals.
Absolutely. And my final comment on what we're talking about now is, I'm also doing intermittent fasting. I only eat certain foods. I only eat certain times of the day. And then I work out every day except for typically Saturday or Sunday, I take one off. And yet people in the health industry, people I see during the course of my day, they'll say, oh, intermittent fasting, that's the worst. Because people will say, well, what are you doing? It seems like you've made some changes. What are they? Oh, you're working out too much. They just start giving me their opinions, even though I didn't ask for them. And I just take it with a grain of salt. And I think, okay, they're coming from their perspective, which has to do with them. So I will hear what people have to say, but I'm still doing what it is that I'm doing because I know that it's working, because I know how I feel. I know the focus that I have, and I'm just celebrating the fact that I'm able to make a choice. And I think that's what I want people to realize. We all have choices we can make. And you said it. It's a decision. It's a conscious decision. So, Roland, we actually have to say goodbye for now because another show is coming up. But what would you like people to take away from this particular episode?
If you have a goal in your life, go for it, whatever it is, and stick to it 100%. And what is really helpful is maybe you find a peer group that has the same goal, or the best friend who has the same goal. It's easier to start in the beginning when you have a peer group with a friend. Don't start alone if it's possible. If you're alone and you need somebody on your side for a call or whatever, send me an email, my office at rolandfriedl.com. I'm there for you. Let's connect. And I'm happy to support you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland. And we are going to bring up your website for people who are not able to see it or they're on a podcast platform. It's Roland Friedl, ROLANDFRIEDL.com. Tell our audience about your TV shows that are in German, please.
Okay. Well, normally on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central European Time, I do a show. It's called the Macher Talk. In English, it's called the Doer Talk. It's about people who are doing, not talking, because we have so many talkers in the world and a few doers. So we talk about making hard decisions in business, making decisions behind the scenes. Nobody's behind the curtain. Nobody sees. We're talking about failure. We're talking about comeback. So it's not the shiny Instagram world about the business. It's the hard facts. There's blood, sweat, and tears in business. That's what we talk. And at 8 p.m., we do this today. At 8 p.m., it's the Mutmacher Talk. In English, it's called the Encourager Talk. And the reason for this talk show is because a lot of people are scared, they're afraid because of the circumstances, who started in 2020 or even before in 2008, economic crisis, energy crisis, global wars and stuff like that. So a lot of people have anxieties, they have fears, they have self-doubt, whatever. So the show is there to encourage people to live their own truth, whatever it is. So every Tuesday, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Central European Time in German. You're muted, my dear friend.
Thank you very much, Roland. And people can find your shows as well as the rest of our shows on many places, many different platforms. But we like to suggest they go over to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, and Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, because all of our shows are in playlists. They're there until the end of time, and it's easy to find. So thank you again for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And that we spread the message of a healthy lifestyle. So people are healthy, they are fit, and they can live their life to the fullest. Thanks a lot. All the best. Bye.
Thank you. Bye for now. And I just want to close out. If you are interested in any of the books that I have, this one is coming out shortly. Stop Giving Away Your Value, Boundaries, Pricing, and the Business of Respect. And you can actually pre-order it on Amazon. And then I'm just going to scroll through until my newest book, which is My Tummy Hurts, A Kid's Guide to Bellyaches and Bathroom Troubles. I have ulcerative colitis for 35 years, and there's a lot of children out there who have abdominal issues, and I just want to bring some awareness for children and for their parents. So this book is available in pre-order also. And then finally, our latest book, Lady Ella and Lord Jack and the Alley Cats of Greece. I think this is the 10th book in the amazing series, which is to help children and their families understand about the power of listening, the power of kindness. So thank you again. And we are going to close out today with a movie clip on My Tummy Hurts. Take a look. My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.